In my 20s, I was deeply into the nightlife scene. Clubs, drinks, loud music, it was all part of the routine. That night was special, though. It was my friend Emily's birthday. So, a small group of us decided to celebrate by heading out to a club for a night of dancing and fun. Emily always wanted to go hard and got way too drunk, way too fast. It was still early and we didn't want to end the night just yet. So, we did what we thought was the best option at the time. We walked her out to the car and let her sleep it off in the back seat while we stayed behind to keep partying. Before you judge, this was a big city and we had all come in the same car. Leaving early would have meant stranding the rest of us, and public transit had already stopped running. This was before Lyft and Uber were everywhere, and honestly, we were just young and dumb. About an hour later, we finally headed back to the car. The rain had started coming down hard, the streets shimmering under the dim glow of streetlights. We were soaked by the time we reached the parking spot, ready to wake Emily up and take her home. But she was gone. At first, it didn't feel real. We flung the car doors open, searching the back seat as if she had somehow shrunk and hidden beneath the seats. Panic hit like a freight train. She was too drunk to have wandered off on her own. She could barely stand when we left her. Something was wrong. We jumped into the car and began driving in frantic circles around the neighborhood, eyes darting over every sidewalk, alley, and doorway. The rain pounded against the windshield, making it harder to see. I remember gripping the seat, sobbing, shaking, whispering to myself that I wasn't going home until we found her. Then, through the streaks of rain, we saw it. A white figure moving down the sidewalk. Emily had been wearing all white that night. My stomach twisted. We pulled over, headlights illuminating Emily and a man we had never seen before. A couple of my friends jumped out, confronting them. I stayed in the car, barely able to breathe. The man was standing too close to her, his posture casual, but there was something deeply, unmistakably wrong about the way he held himself. He didn't back away, didn't look surprised to be confronted. The conversation was muffled under the rain, but when it was over and Emily climbed shakily back into the car, one of my friends turned to me, face pale. He asked us for money, they said. Emily said he was taking her to a hotel room. A hotel room. My blood ran cold. The reality hit all at once. If we had waited even a few minutes longer, she would have been gone. Emily had been picked up by what was almost certainly a human trafficker. And if we hadn't found her in time, if we hadn't driven down that exact street in that exact moment, she wouldn't have made it home that night. I no longer believe in ghosts, but for a long time I did because of something I experienced as a child in the early 1970s when I was 5 years old. My family lived in a small house in a quiet rural neighborhood of Koga Park, California. One night I woke up and got out of bed to use the bathroom. As I walked down the hallway, I passed a doorway that looked into the living room. That's when I saw them. Several tall, human-like figures, at least 5, maybe more, were moving around in the darkness. They weren't my parents. They weren't speaking. They simply drifted through the room, their movements slow, deliberate, and completely silent. I stood there frozen. I should have screamed or run to wake someone up, but I didn't. My young mind couldn't process what I was seeing. After what felt like forever, I turned and went back to bed, unable to explain what I had just witnessed. For years, I was convinced they were ghosts. What else could they have been? The memory stayed with me far longer and far clearer than any dream I had ever had. But as I got older and more skeptical, I started questioning it. Had it really happened? Could it have just been a vivid nightmare? That explanation made the most sense, and yet I couldn't shake the feeling that it had been real. Then I read Helter Skelter. The book, which details the Manson family murders, also describes a disturbing habit of their cult members, something they called creepy crawling. At night they would break into random homes, not to rob or vandalize, but simply to wander inside, touch things, and move around while the homeowners slept, completely unaware. At the time, the Manson family was living on Spahn Ranch, just 5 miles from my house. All these years I had believed I had seen ghosts, or maybe that it was just a dream. But what if it wasn't? What if at 5 years old I had woken up and for just a few moments stumbled upon the Manson family inside my own home? I've never been one to believe in the paranormal, but I can't deny that something deeply unsettling happened the night my friends and I visited Black Hollow Tunnel in Ridgway County, Kentucky. It was late, and after a few drinks and some smoking, someone suggested, why not visit that supposedly haunted tunnel in the middle of the night? It sounded like a fun, reckless idea at the time, so we all agreed. When we arrived, the atmosphere was lighthearted. We laughed, joked, and treated it like a silly adventure. We had to park and walk down a long, empty road before finally reaching the tunnel. That's when the mood began to shift. The second we stepped inside, I realized just how pitch black it was. Even with a flashlight, the darkness seemed to swallow everything beyond a few feet. Halfway through, a strange, creeping sensation washed over me, an overwhelming sense of dread. My entire body tensed, every hair on my skin stood on end, my heart was hammering in my chest for no reason I could explain. Then I noticed something chilling. I wasn't the only one. A few of my friends had stopped walking too, their faces barely visible in the dim light. When I turned my flashlight back on, we had been walking in the dark to enhance the experience. I saw that one of them had tears streaming down their face. Another stood completely frozen, staring into the void ahead. Finally, one of us broke the silence. "We need to leave now." We didn't argue, we didn't ask why, we ran. The car ride home was unnervingly quiet at first. No one spoke about what had just happened. Eventually we started joking, most likely to cover up how genuinely shaken we all were. To this day, I still have no explanation for what we felt inside that tunnel. A part of me wonders, could it have been something paranormal? Or was there something real lurking in the shadows, a group of people waiting for us, triggering our instincts to panic before we even saw them? I don't know. All I do know is that whatever's inside Black Hollow Tunnel is not good, and I'll never set foot in that place again.